welcome to Different Pets. My name is Robin Kahn, and this is my very good friend, Dr. James Sawyers, from the East Boston and Revere Animal Clinic. Dr. Sawyers, what do we have here today?
We have
this
one
is
of
so
the
exciting.
We have one of the larger specimens of snakes that I've had the pleasure to handle. This is Junior. Junior is a Burmese python. She's only about 3 years old. I can't wait to see her when she's full grown.
Did you say she was 85 pounds?
I weighed her today at 85 pounds.
85 pounds. And is she going to have a baby?
That's why we have to be very gentle with her, handle her carefully, because she is pregnant. Now, the pythons are a breed of snake that deliver their young by eggs, or being oviparous. Some of the snakes, like the boa constrictors, they actually deliver their young live. We had our assistant Shannon all excited, thinking there might be 100 little snakes running around the clinic in the morning when she comes in.
Oh, imagine that. How long does it take for them to, what is their period of gestation?
Well, this particular snake, she was bred about a month ago. She'll lay her eggs in about another 2 months, and then she'll coil them and protect them and keep them warm for 180 days.
Well,
and they'll have clutches of 50 to 100
I understand
eggs.
More people than ever have exotic pets.
I've been seeing an awful lot of different pets over the last few years.
When someone brings a snake in, they get a little checkup, right?
They get a complete physical.
Well, how often would this one eat, or what would she eat?
Well, this particular snake, most snakes are fed live prey. You know, it depends on the size of the snake. She could consume a rabbit or even a cat, which is why she's on first, so we don't lose our other guests.
Okay.
That'd be a tough show. And sometimes you can buy frozen meat that you can feed them and some vitamin supplements. But they're really very sweet animals, the pythons and boas especially. I do not recommend having a poisonous snake, and I would personally refuse to see one, because that doesn't make much sense at all.
Do they remove the fangs, is it, on a poisonous snake?
They can do that, but it's just not, they're usually also a lot more aggressive by nature, truly wild animals, whereas these are a little more placid, if strong, and easier to handle.
You know, you said that when they put their little tongue out like that, that means they're scenting you.
That's right. They don't smell. Snakes don't smell with their nose per se. There's an organ at the back of the neck called the vomeronasal organ, and they stick their little tongues out, grasp molecules of scent from the air, and then pull it back, and they have very keen sense of smell, but just not with the nose.
Now, is a snake like this always this active?
Well,
or do they sleep most of the time?
They're usually pretty sedentary, except when they're feeding. She's been a little stressed because she's been picked up, and there's cameras and lights and motion, and she's not used to this location.
And you said she has to be kept a little warmer because of the babies. What kind of temperature would you need if one of us wanted to buy ourselves a snake?
Well, the first thing, I don't recommend going out to a pet store and just buying a snake blindly.
Okay.
You go
That's
out.
what some people would do.
Yes, and that's why I see a lot of sick snakes. Okay. You go out and you buy a little book, like this was one I bought when I got my boa constrictor, because you need to learn about each species is a little bit different in nutrition and temperature needs. In general, like a snake like this, and most snakes need to be kept at 80 degrees or higher. If they get sick, you often have to jack the temperature up another 5 or 10 degrees to increase their body temperature. They are what they know as poikilothermic. They are cold-blooded, so you have to supply heat, or they'll get very, very sick.
Oh, and on this, you can treat this with penicillin. If she were sick, you can give these snakes
we can use many of our antibiotics based on weight, so she get a big shot.
I know what that feels like.
For many ailments, it all depends. Some of the more common problems I see in reptiles, the snakes often get a condition known as mouth rot. If the humidity in their temperature-controlled environment is not high enough, should be around 50 to 65% generally, then they can start to have bad sheds and even retain speculums in their eyes.
And how often would she shed, do you think?
This particular one I'm not sure of, but she should probably be shedding at least once a month would be my guess. The snake that I used to have, a smaller boa, would shed about every 3 months. So it varies, again, from species to species. Everyone's a little bit different. This is an excellent specimen. She's very, very well cared for, very healthy.
You know, I noticed her skin, and you know, it's very shiny, and for those of you who've never felt a snake, and you know, you get a little nervous around them, it's amazing.
It's not
very
slimy
smooth.
at all. Many people have that old wives' tale that snakes are always slimy.
I always hear that.
But no,
and
she's
not.
very smooth.
And she's very gentle.
Oh, she's a real
Now, could she bite you?
Oh, sure she could. I've had a few snakes chomp on my fingers
okay.
once
You know,
or
I was
twice.
just saying when they, you know, their little tongue goes out, they just scent you.
You can pry that little mouth open. You'll see. Actually,
they have teeth?
They have very small, very needle-like teeth. They would really. They use it when they grab the rat or the mouse to hold it in, and then they'll suffocate it with their coils and swallow it whole. Which isn't. They actually open their jaws wider than the diameter of the body. She was capable of swallowing, like I said, our next few guests, so I think we'll put her away before she gets a little too nervous. Besides, I'm going to be exhausted by the end of this.
I know. Wow, she's a heavy one.
But she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, what a good-natured little pet. No, that's amazing.
Believe me, you'd never want for a hug with her around.
Oh, I know. I mean, 85 pounds. Do you have to handle a snake every day?
It's better to handle them regularly so they get to know you, and they will respond to affection, just like any living creature. They show it differently. They're a little quieter. All right, come on, sweetheart.
You know, I think that's interesting, putting it in a carrier instead of a terrarium.
Well, like I said, we didn't want her running around free. Gotta get the head inside there.
Oh, there we go. It's almost all in.
Gotta coil her nice and comfy. Push her back. There we go. Come on there. Junior. You're the heaviest beast.
Oh, that was very interesting.
Light and keep her nice and warm.
Okay.
Whew, well.
Wow. Well, that was interesting.
Never a dull moment.
I know, that was fun.
Well, since we're on to reptiles, let's go on with our next cold-blooded creature. This is Fred. Who gets a little nervous, too.
Now, Fred is an iguana. Now, I used to think always when I had an iguana that all you had to do is feed it lettuce.
Oh, that's one of the worst.
That's a fallacy. I learned that.
The most common.
Oh,
hey,
wow.
Fred, this is a good sight. Easy, Fred. Shh, we're nervous.
Oh,
Down
okay.
to Daisy.
Oh.
Easy, Fred. Fred and I are old friends, you can tell. No shots today, Fred, I promise. Jeepers.
And does Fred get shots too?
Well, actually, no. The reptiles are not susceptible to like the rabies virus and many common diseases. So the only injections they'll get would be like an antibiotic or a B vitamin shot. Now, Fred was depressed, had a little nutritional problem a while ago, so he remembers that B vitamin shot I gave him. It stings. I don't think he's forgiven me.
Vitamin stings with people too.
Yeah, one of the most common problems I see with iguanas in households, besides, again, low temperature, you have to keep these guys warm 80 degrees as well, is nutritional problems. People like you feeding too much lettuce.
Yes, well, that's what
lettuce is anti-nutrition, no good.
And it's the strangest thing because that's such a fallacy. And after you told me that, I realized it was amazing how they can sustain. Now, how large do these grow? Is this about as large as they go?
How old is Fred now? He's about 2 years old, 3 years old.
3.
And I've seen them twice this size when they get to be 8 or 10 years of age. But he's a fairly good size when he's very good condition, also very healthy. What you have to do is feed them a varied diet. You have to feed them.
Cute.
They'll eat dog food sometimes. They'll eat spinach, kale, apples, all kinds of different fruits and vegetables. Many iguanas are best supplemented with vitamin D, calcium, phosphorus. Like there's a veterinary product called Pet Cal that actually balances their calcium phosphorus intake.
Now, should he go for a checkup too every so often?
Every so often, I mean, as needed, or if there's minor problems they'll develop. I've got one pair of iguanas that come in that literally, they hate each other.
Oh.
And have you ever seen an iguana get mugged? It's kind of frightening. They come in all bloody and gory. We've had to stitch them back together again.
Wait, do these have teeth too?
Oh yeah, they have sharp little teeth, and maybe he'll show you. They're very sharp if they get annoyed. Most animals are very, very easygoing, and you just handle them gently. If you're not sure, as I see many animals stressed in the clinic, I'll wear a pair of nice welder's gloves for protection for myself as well as for the owners. But these little guys are pretty calm. So he's settling down
how
now.
long would this one, how old would he live to,
I've seen them,
approximately?
the oldest iguana I've seen is about 12 years of age.
Oh, okay, so it's just like having a dog.
They can live a long time, and they really develop their own personalities, and they'll let you know just what they like, what they don't like. Many people come in and say, well, I own a cat, I own a dog, but what kind of personality does a snake have, or a lizard? They're no fun at all. And they're different, but they can be just as much fun as anything else. Also, one thing nice about these reptiles.
So
You can go
cute.
away and leave them for a couple of days. Iguanas
I
have
was
to be
just gonna
fed
ask
every
you,
day.
do you feed him every single day, or
Yes,
like a snake? What do you?
the iguanas
I know
have to
ours,
be
we can
fed
feed 'em
every day. And again, there's species to species differences. That's why you buy your book and check out your species before you purchase it, or have a friend give it to you. But like snakes are an ideal. Apartment dwellers are quiet. They don't bark. Like the Colombian rainbow boa constrictor I had to be fed once every 3 weeks. That's not too big of a strain. And so it's an easy, pet to keep, really. You just have to be careful of the nutrition.
How can you tell whether this is a male or a female?
You'd have to open the vent underneath and look
okay.
inside. We shan't do that on this show.
Oh, okay, no.
I don't think Fred would appreciate it.
No.
In fact, we're wondering if Fred is actually Frederica. Sometimes the sexing can be a little traumatic, and so we don't tend to stress them too much. Yes.
Now, would he get along well with other pets? I mean, or would you, like we kept ours in a giant cage?
Again, that varies from pet to pet. I mean, at the time I had a ferret, one of my cats hated it, thought it was a rat that needed to be killed, and so didn't do well with it. The other cats liked it, so that's very individual. Most animals tend to learn to coexist very well, as long as they're well fed and not hungry or starved or afraid or abused.
Now, could he regrow his tail? Somebody was asking me that if something happened in combat or he was fighting with someone.
One fascinating thing that we hope Shannon won't find this out today, one fascinating thing about the lizards is that when they're stressed too hard or get too afraid, like under attack by a predator, they'll literally drop the end of their tail.
Yeah, I heard that.
It's quite true. The theory being is that the predator will grab the tail, pull on it, trying to eat the whole animal. They just literally drop the back end of the tail, leaving the cat or the raccoon or whatever with the tail in its mouth, and the rest of the live animal gets away.
Oh, okay.
So if you feel something loose, Shannon, just let me know.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry, we can stitch it up. I've done it before.
And who do we have next? He holds on tight,
Oh,
too.
he's a sweet little guy. A little nervous. And these little claws can get you. And so we got to make, with the iguanas, again, temperature and proper nutrition, especially the vitamin D and calcium, where you see the jaws get all swollen and puffy. That's the most important thing I see. And we also get little fractures every now and then. All righty, so we'll give Fred back to Mom and Dad. Bye, Fred.
Oh, that's an interesting pet.
Well, let's go on to our warm-blooded animals.
Okay.
How about we go on, no, it's not even close to being Easter yet. Let's do Bigwig. Where's Bigwig?
Oh, I love rabbits. They're one of my favorite, and there's so many varieties.
Oh, they have every color,
I
size,
know,
shape.
that was what's, oh, isn't that cute?
Now, Bigwig is an albino. You can tell he's an albino by the...
This is a kind of magician's
ribbon.
hat. I always like the
That's
white
right,
rabbits.
You should have had your hat, Shannon.
Yes.
Oh, there we go.
Isn't that cute?
Now, rabbits, again, make excellent pets. They're very loving and affectionate. They also can be litter box trained. They have many common problems. Many of them are born with genetically malaligned inside. They have that problem. We have to trim their teeth normally, though they wear as they eat normally, or naturally, I should say.
I've had a few rabbits in the past, too.
They're very susceptible to a particular nasty bacteria called Pasteurella multasta that causes a chronic snuffles, and they also get sometimes very, very nasty abscesses that need to be opened and surgically drained and debrided. Of course, I see all the bad things that a lot of times they go on. They need to be kept where they have access to their own feces, believe it or not.
Oh, imagine that.
You know why?
No.
Because they like to eat them.
Oh.
And actually, some people think it's a very disgusting habit, but in the rabbit, it's necessary. In the large cecum of the rabbit, they undergo fermentation, much like a cow will ferment food and so on and so forth. But
they regurgitate it?
No, they just pass this out the other end.
Oh, okay.
They don't chew the cud like a cow does. But in that fermentation process in the cecum and colon, you're going to get a lot of B vitamins and amino acids that are actually necessary for life and good digestion of fiber and grass and their pellets. So they actually pass two kinds of feces, hard day feces and softer night feces, and they often will consume those night feces.
Could they eat each other's feces, or would that be dangerous?
I would assume they could eat it back and forth. I've never really done a study on that one.
Oh, okay. Future research for me.
But that's one thing that many people have a problem because they'll keep them up on racks where the feces fall through all the time, and they really need access to their own feces for proper growth and digestion, or they need to be supplemented with special vitamins on top of their rabbit
So
pellets.
should a rabbit have special vitamins, would you recommend?
Well, most of the commercial rabbit food is adequate.
yeah.
You know, there are some special problems that develop, just as we discussed about the feces. Another thing they commonly get is hairballs. They're
Oh, just
especially-
like a cat.
Sure, especially
I
when
see
they're
this little
nervous.
guy